The high cost of living is a global problem. In the article Global Portraits of Nominal Inflation, published February 2022 by Laura Drove and Alexei Toporinsky, shares every nation is experiencing skyrocketing prices of commodities like food, fuel, and other products. This time around, even the first world countries like the US and the UK are not left out. Citizens in developing nations protest daily over the high cost of living caused by inflation. Some countries have reported record high inflation rates between April and June. Clearly, inflation is a global problem, and it is at the heart of a dawning era of tough economic times for citizens in many countries. Therefore, governments need to implement monetary policies and other measures to curb the impacts of global inflation. Having identified inflation as a global issue, we need to lay down a concrete plan to curb its negative effects, like the high cost of living. The government plays an important role in the reducing and controlling inflation. The government can implement compacting monetary policies, wages, and price controls to curb inflation. Compacting monetary policies like increasing interest rates control inflation by reducing the money supply in the economy. Increasing interest rates in the most effective contractionary monetary for policies. For instance, the federal government increased the interest rates to a record high of 20% in the early 1980s to curb inflation, which was hovering in the double digits. Wage and price controls are price and salary caps and floor applied to various commodities and services offered. Governments can dictate the minimum wages and maximize price caps to control the cost of living in the country. These solutions give us hope in our pursuit of sustainable living conditions. Having identified the role of the government in controlling inflation in an economy, we can join hands and push for better living conditions. Various governments should pursue zero inflation as their primary goal. A world without inflation means prices of essential commodities like food and energy goes down. So, with technological advancements increase due to the low cost of acquisition and maintenance. As a result, productivity increases, leading to a further decline in prices, given the reduced cost of production. Low prices and stable incomes improve the living conditions in all nations. Different nations have reported all-time high inflation rates, with Spain and the US leading with 8.7 and 8.6 respectively. The average inflation rate in the world is 7.4%. The annual global inflation rate was surged from 4.71% in 2021 and 3.23% in 2020. Stated in the article Emergency Economies, Global Inflation and Growth Declaration, published April 2022 by Canuto. As a result of this high global inflation rates, the cost of living in the most countries have risen profusely. Citizens of countries like the UK, Belgium, Zimbabwe protest against their governments over the skyrocketing prices of fuel, food, and other essentials. Yet wages remain the same. This change caused the citizens unrest since they spend more than they earn, according to Anna Santa Cruz and her co-worker just at the Federal Bank Reserve in St. Louis. The main factors to the high global inflation rates is COVID-19 pandemic, the war in Ukraine, the China slowdown, and the impacts of climate change. Ultimately, these factors cause a demand pull, economic turndown, and a high cost of living. To achieve this ideal situation, we need the government intervention to reduce inflation. The government is moderate to the The government is mandated to dictate sustainable wages and prices of various commodities. Reducing prices and increasing the minimum wage is a short-term solution. However, this is not enough. The government should pursue a zero inflation economy. Contrary monetary policies like increased interest rates control inflation by reducing the money supply in the economy. What does that mean? Reducing of consumer and business spending reduces economic growth and could lead to a recession. This was done in the 1980s to curb inflation to 3%, which gave a little relief. Therefore, citizens should urge their leaders to adopt and support monetary policies and wage and price control bills. This will help us overall. Thank you.